don't you know your tax rate's going up, 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 up? Yeah, I just changed the words to Rolling Stones lyrics shattered there. Yeah, big Stones fan. Beatles, okay. Stones, far superior. Led Zeppelin, better than them all. But anyway, back to Republicans caving on everything. From the looks of things right now, the Republican Party is basically going to say, that whole supply side thing that we have been talking about for decades and decades and decades, something we believe in, Ronald Reagan's supply side, all that good stuff. Yeah, but we're going to scrap that now. Yeah, they're gonna scrap that. Again, if the donkeys weren't so stupid right now, I mean, they'd be running away with everything. If they weren't so obsessed with open borders and, a million genders and all sorts of other stuff, anybody with the slightest resemblance of Bill Clinton right now, it would be like a Reagan versus Mondale type of a win for the Dems because they would just own Republicans. So what you're saying is that everything that you've been saying for decades is a lie. You've changed your mind on this, right? And it's funny. You're going to watch. You're going to see just how chicken. What a bunch of pathetic human beings these Republicans are. You're going to watch them twist themselves into pretzels trying to justify higher taxes. Watch. I don't know. They're that afraid of Donald Trump. See how pathetic that is? Or maybe, again, they just love their life as power people in Washington, D.C., that they're willing to do anything, meaning what? They're basically hookers. But I've already explained that to you before. They're gonna bend over backwards trying to justify higher taxes. Yeah, it's like it's like some sort of like thriller movie where the bad guys they threaten someone's children if you don't listen or comply with what we tell you to do. That's how these Republicans are acting. Everything that they've said and they've talked about, they're again twisting themselves into pretzels now to basically justify higher taxes rather than making the necessary cuts. Medicaid, they're folding up on that. Again, that you could find a ton there. You can find a ton. Again, you look through the numbers, it's the amount of able-bodied men that are collecting Medicaid, almost 7 million that are just checked out of the workforce. And they're able to get Medicaid and Section 8, just a myriad of different things that we hand out and give away. At what point in time do we find some Republicans, give a little Don Corleone there, Johnny Fontaine whining. Well, I don't know what to do, guys. I don't know what to do. Whack, you can act like a man. How about that? How about telling these men out there that are taking money out of actual weaker members of society's pockets, why don't you tell them to get up and get a job and act like a man? Oh, no, we can't do that. No, we can't. No. That's something that we really can't do. It looks like taxes are going up. And again, you're taking a look at some of the budget priorities, nonsensical. And I'm honest here. You're going over $1 trillion, another 150, 160 billion for the military. Well, I guess we need it because we just, we got aircraft carriers there in the Red Sea that are losing airplanes left and right. They're just falling off the aircraft carriers. That hasn't made Fox News. You know that? We lost 2 Hornet jets over the past couple of weeks, $60 million a pop. Fell off the aircraft carrier. Fell off. 2 $60 million jets. We got it all going on. That money will solve that problem. Most certainly, we spend more money. That most certainly will solve the problem. We most certainly should be sending Pete Hegseth more money when the Pentagon can't pass an audit. Right. I'll get in. Those military contractors, military industrial complex, they write out big checks. Write out big checks. They're in all these districts here. You ever notice that? They're smart. Look how smart these military contractors are. They spread their locales all over the country. All over the country. They're here, there, and everywhere. Like, whoa, hey, Lockheed. Oh, there's BA. They're everywhere. So once they get into, all these places around the country, then, politicians are going to make sure that they're getting funded. It's amazing. It really is. Oh yeah. And then you got the Republicans in the blue states there. It was mostly New York, right? The SALT deduction, state and local tax deduction. Again, this whacked me. I talked about this here on the show. That was 2017. 2017. I said, they're reducing the state and local tax deduction. Again, I lived in New York, high property taxes. Forget about the state income taxes. I don't even like thinking about it, quite frankly. But I said, it's fair. I said, I don't deserve this tax deduction. Why should the citizens of other states subsidize my tax return? It's not fair. It's wrong. And again, you got these Mike Lors and Stephanie, all these types out there. Well, we send more money to Washington, D.C. We pay more in Texas. Give me a break. Okay? You're going to go back. You're going to take a look about the amount of money over the years that the federal government has sent the state of New York or other blue states when it comes to, come on, infrastructure, a myriad of things. Come on, stop. All right? It's a scam. All right? Why don't you focus on getting your state to lower taxes? What's the incentive now? There's no incentive to lower taxes in New York. Hey, you got to write it off on your federal taxes. Again, it's wrong. But again, I guess those Republicans are not going to cave. They upped the cap to $30,000, and these Republicans said no. Higher taxes. Okay, so my taxes are going up. Looks like my taxes are going up. And I'm going to be consistent with what I've said about higher taxes for a very long period of time. I've been saying the same thing. I talked about this 2004, a long time ago. I said, listen, you want to approach me like an honest broker, and come to me and say, Chris, we're going to have to raise your taxes. All these people we're going to have to raise your taxes. Okay. You say, fine. Okay. We've got a fiscal situation we've got to deal with. We're $36 trillion in debt. I wouldn't mind. I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't mind if, you balance the budget. You cut out all the wasteful spending. You balanced the budget. You look to put, we're no longer running deficits. We're no longer taking 2 steps forward, 5 steps backward every damn year. Because I know that my tax dollars that I'm sending you is just going to be wasted. You balance the budget, and then you almost approach it like a war. You almost approach it like a way you say it's like when they sold war bonds, for crying out loud. You balance the budget. You cut spending. You cut the growth of government. And you say to people, so you know what? This money is going to be earmarked to reduce our nation's debt. You know what? I do that because I know that, that's an investment in the country. That's an investment in our country's future, in my kids. I could justify that. This, you're just going to piss it away. You're just going to piss it away. Just like, I mentioned earlier on a podcast this past week, DOJ identifies all of these things that need to be cut. Supposed to have a vote on it this week. Nah. Again, I said it from the very beginning. I watched this thing. I was all excited about what DOJ was doing, the things they're putting forward. And then I watched and I said, you know what? Elon Musk is going to regret this. He's going to regret this. I hope he does not become a jaded person. Okay, he's going to regret this whole Doge thing because he's going to look at it and say, "What did I do?" Okay, the left wing media came after me. They calling me a Nazi. They hit my stock. People helped ruin my brand for what? For what? I put the work in, identify all this stuff, and they do nothing. Nothing. And now Donald Trump wants to come and raise my taxes. Yeah, he's playing coy about it too. I'm not so sure. Well, if they want to do it, I would support it. Give me a break. We all know. Everyone knows. He comes out on Truth Social and he lies. We all know. It's all out there. You approach Mike Johnson. You say, listen, you got to raise taxes. Okay. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? WatchDog on wallstreet.com.